All right. Good morning, everybody. We back. It is cool outside this morning. Let me show you what we're going to get into today. See that ignition switch? This is the 68 Chevelle. For those of you that's new to the channel, it's in for a lot of things. Not a paint job or a restoration though. It is in for, it's been sitting for many years, and there's a video up that showed when we picked it up and everything that we've done to it, brakes and all. Look at what Dylan done yesterday though. He put the new panel on. Well, the new panel came in, supposed to have been painted black, but it was like an e-coat, plus it had a scratch. And Dylan is perfecting his skills with the painting. And then, if y'all remember, you remember the old rusty bracket? He cleaned that thing up and got the rust off. And he told me, he says, I'm gonna paint it on the inside too, because he said that's where it looks so bad at. Look, that's the wrong thing. Look at that. That thing, you can't really see because it's dark in there. But anyway, it is painted on the inside as good as it is on the outside. So, the valve covers. We had a brand new valve cover kit. Look at that. And look at that. It was going to match the wheel wood. Well, Dylan put them on yesterday, started the car up, the rocker arms was hitting. So that discouraged him. You know, he's 20 years old, but he's learning that the stuff that we buy, it just don't work right anymore. And you have to fabricate, you know, the client has to pay for the valve covers, right? And you put them on, they pay you to put them on, and then they don't work. So anyway, I looked at him. I was working on that truck, and I said, what you got going on? He said, they're rubbing. I said, that ain't no problem. I said, take the little Dremel that we've got and clean a spot, you know, grind it out where it's rubbing. Take some black magic marker, mark back over where you've just ground, put them back on, turn it over, and if it rubs, you'll be able to see, because it will scratch where the magic marker's at. So that's what he did. And I told him, I said, but just be careful, don't grind out too much because it can fall through. And I'm not blaming him. Look, they're pretty, but they're stamped out overseas. I mean, let's be honest. Quality control is just the way it is. Well, anyway, as you can see right there, see the little shiny hole beside the shiny hole? It fell through. So I will replace. I contacted the company last night. I've got to send them pictures. I'm not asking for a full refund, because technically we shouldn't have ground on them. But doing what I do, you know, I've been in this long enough now to know that if it don't fit, make it fit. But sometimes it'll fall through, and next time he'll know. But they said they would like to see pictures of it. But what it is, see how that valve cover is wide at the bottom and then it tapers up on the sides? The valve train underneath that valve cover is staggered. And so you need a valve cover that comes straight up, kind of square, not tapered. And I didn't know that, so it's partially my fault. But these things are supposed to fit a big block Chevy, and they will fit, but they're not functional. But anyway, back to where I was going with the switch. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. This 68 Chevelle has got a switch in the dash. Okay. When you turn it over, it goes click, 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 and then it'll turn over. And then it might go click, 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 and then it'll turn over. So I restored a 68 a few years ago that had the same problem. Pulled the switch out, got to looking for a switch, and it had a number on the back of it, and you couldn't buy that switch. I could only find one on eBay, and it was $200, and it was used. So I had messaged the client on it, and I said, you know what, I'm going to take it apart, and if I can fix it, I'll fix it. If not, it's going to cost you $200 from eBay. And he said, okay. So I got it apart and was able to fix it. They've got brass brads inside that can be tightened up, and his has worked flawless now for over 3 years. So that's what's on the schedule for today. Is we're going to get this switch out of the dash and see if we can get it fixed. For those of you that don't know, see that hole right there? That's the trick to get that lock switch out. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, this here, this outer ring, will not come off unless this is first taken out. So when you push it in, you can feel it. You can feel it turn. I don't know if I'll be able to do it with one hand or not. See if I can get you set up over here so you can see. You have to turn it. You have to push the little, there, yeah, see? See how that that goes through? Okay. What was it pushing inside? I don't know if you'll be able to see back inside or not. When I get it out, I'll show you more about it. One more thing that I want to show you. Not so sure if you can see. See that little groove right there? Well, there's another one up here. If that was 6 o'clock, then there's another one at 12 o'clock. Those things, if you take a pair of pliers or something like this and pull the back side of the handle and spread it apart, you can get that thing to twist. I tried it by hand, but I thought to start with that it had been glued, because a lot of times they give trouble and people will put stuff, see the threads and all inside there? It just screws on, and then that comes out from the back side. It's surely a good sign that someone's been in there when you get it down below the dash and it's zip tied. So the reason they did, see that clip right there? See how that one goes through the square? They broke that one. So someone's been in there. See those little brass contacts on the back? That's often what loosens up on the inside. I'll get this thing out where we can all see good. Let me show you what I'm doing. See how it folds over? See, can you see the slope? Let me get you right there. Can you see the slope in the black plastic? Well, all that is just mashed around it. It's just a real soft aluminum, and you just slowly go through with a small screwdriver and wedge that up until it's loose. It don't take much to get that. And like I said, it's real soft aluminum. Just take your time. Now, I have not searched up this switch yet. This is a different 68 Chevelle with a different VIN number. I just know from experience, the last one I couldn't find but just one, but I was able to fix it. There were several of them that offered, but they wouldn't go back into the dash right. You know, you wouldn't be able to put it back in. It's just about ready to come out. Just takes time. Once you get to where your screwdriver will fit in there, you can go through and just pry it open a little bit, because trust me, that aluminum, I think it's like pot metal aluminum. It's really, really thin. Aluminum is one of those things that you've got one shot at it. A lot of times, like if you stretch a piece of aluminum to loosen it up and then you close it back up, oftentimes that second time it'll break. Not always, but from experience, I can tell you it'll break. I know this is probably like watching paint dry, but you can always skip forward. One thing about YouTube, there's always somebody out there with the same problem, whether it be a switch or bad valve covers or whatever. Just about. There we go. Gotta take it out easy and see what's on the back side. You can see the little burn marks. This one's made a little bit different here. This one don't have the contacts in it like. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. This switch might be viable then. I don't know, but you can see what it looks like. Pretty intimidating, kinda, sorta. The one good thing about stuff like this is most of the time it'll only fit back one way. Ha! And I mean, look at it this way. It's already giving problems. We'll go ahead and take all my little springs out before I lose them. Well, I have to say, that one is definitely different than the other one. That one's definitely different than the other one. The other one, I had the ability to tighten up the contacts. I'm guessing this one is just wore out. You can see where it, I might be able to take some sandpaper and clean the arcing spots, and it might work. Anyway, if not, I'll try to find one online. All right, let me get you back in here. See that contact right there? How it's got the little bitty, looks like little fingers bent over. That one was actually loose. What I done was I put it flat down on the vise on the back side so that it would have something firm to lay against. And I took this screwdriver and laid it on each little finger and give it a couple pecks and tightened it up. All the rest of them seemed to be tight. I cleaned off all the burnt spots on the back side with some 400 grit. So I'm going to continue to check it out on the inside. And I'm going to put it back together, be able to slide it back into the switch and try it without putting it back in the dash. Well, I got that post tightened up, got it put back together, and now I'm taking, I know this is a big hammer, but it's got that round edge to just help fold it back around that plastic. Do I think I fixed anything? Nah. I mean, that contact that was loose, that could have been a problem, but I'm not very, what's the word? Excited. This screwdriver will help fold that edge on a little bit tighter. Over a period of years, it could have been loose and away from the contacts inside, and may not have known. I don't know what type of work you call this. Crazy work. Let's see what we got here. Let's put it back, let's plug it back in and try it. What do you think? Alright, so I got the switch and all hooked back up, and I unhooked the distributor so that it wouldn't start, because I don't want it to start. I just want it to turn over. Now, still doing the same thing. Well, we've got an issue somewhere else then. Look what we got. '68 Chevelle. I went online after that one still done the same clicking. I'm going to order one offline, and come to find out, O'Reilly Auto Parts, they could have me one at 3:30 today. So there you have it. That should be it right there. Let's see if our lock cylinder will fit. It shows to fit, but look at that. Look at that. Would you just look at that? All right, so you know what that means. Let's get inside the car here. All right. Still does the same thing. So, well, it's not the switch. So I'm guessing we've either got a bad solenoid on that new starter, or a bad wire somewhere. All right, so the search continues for the wiring issue. As you can see, we got some of their old wiring torn out. And I've got the, as Vice Grip would call it, the Lone Wolf 6000. The, what is the proper name for that? It's a remote starter. So you actually have to drop the starter down to get the remote starter hooked up, and then put the starter back on. So the test for the wiring is, what I done with the remote starter is I went directly to the starter, and every time you hit it, it turns over, no clicking. So that tells me that there's a wiring issue somewhere from down here and back around. So you can see that they've got a blue wire, but they've got it tied in right there with that yellow crimp connection. That's your purple wire. That's the start wire from the fuse box. It comes out right there. So there could be a problem from this side of the wire, or it could be a problem from the inside of the wire under the dash. But what I'm fixing to check is the neutral safety switch. Online, a lot of the forums say that the neutral safety switch can be failing and not letting the right amount of current or voltage travel through it to go to the starter solenoid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the shifter and all up, unhook the neutral safety switch, and connect the wires together with a jumper, and then try it and see what it does. This is a Quicksilver shifter, in case anybody ever wants to know how to get the handle off. And then they had 4 screws. Well, Looks like somebody's been in there before me. Oh, me. Somebody else has been chasing this rabbit. Well, that don't look nothing like, I don't know what type of safety switch that is, but we'll get these wires unhooked, see what we got. Alright, so what I've done, this is my neutral safety switch right here. I've never seen one like that, but it must be something that comes with the Quicksilver car. I'm sorry, the Quicksilver shifter. But anyway, I had a piece of 10 gauge wire and I shoved it down in there because that's looks like that purple may be a 12 gauge. The two little green ones I'm pretty sure are the reverse lights, but let's check it out and see what we got. It really gets you, but you can hear, you can listen. So that means we've got an issue that is in the wiring. That's discouraging because now that tells me that it must be under the dash. It's either from the back of the switch here to the fuse panel, or it's from the fuse panel outside to the starter. So I need to go and get some 12 gauge wire, and I think what I'm going to do is pull this switch off, pull the purple wire completely out, put me a new connection on it, and then run it through the passenger side window and straight down to the starter and see if that bypasses. That still won't tell me if it's the wire under the dash bad or if it's the wire outside, but that will give me an idea if it is the wire, because our neutral safety switch is disarmed, so we can mark that out. And we've got a new switch, and we know that going directly to the starter works correctly because I've got the mobile start on it, or the remote starter. That's discouraging right there. That's the way it is, troubleshooting wiring. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, let me turn the light on. I got the red wire going straight to the starter, and I have bypassed, see the purple wire out of the harness? I've bypassed it. So, all right, the moment of truth, here we go. So this bypasses the whole wiring under the dash and outside the firewall, across the firewall, down to the starter. So this red wire is run directly to the starter. I say we hit the nail on the head. The bad thing is, let me get you turned back around here. The bad thing is the troubleshooting has just begun. So in order to get to that harness, what I would call easily, without just being a bull in the china shop, that dash section needs to come out. To get it out without breaking, the column needs to drop down from this section right here. Yeah. Steering wheel would need to come off to be able to get in there, because if not, it's just going to be right there in your gut. Probably what we'll try is a new wire over to the firewall plug. Let me show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about, but for those of you that don't, on the Chevrolet, see that bolt in there? See if I can zoom in for you. See that bolt 3/8? When you loosen that up, these plugs will unplug from the back side of the fuse box. So that purple wire is run right there. See if I can shine some light on it without flooding it out. See that old big purple wire? So technically, I can go buy some new 12 gauge and run it along over there and down to the starter and then try it again. And if it works, then we know that it was that wire. If it don't work, then we know that the wiring under the dash is the problem. All right, now don't fuss at me, but in a small town, you can't get purple wire. So I had to buy red. And speaking of wire, a roll of red 12 gauge at Tractor Supply was 75 bucks for 100 foot. So I went to the local AutoZone and got 100 foot of it for 36 bucks. So ignore the wiring because it hadn't been beautified, but we got a brand new wire down to the starter. And what I done was went in, took it out of the housing there, the purple one, and put a new one in, and we dropped the starter, hooked it up at the thing. So let's go in here and try it and see what we got. Here we go. Oh, of all things, it's the wiring under the dash. Okay, well, that's discouraging right there. Well, that means we need a new wire inside. We started with the outside because it was easiest to run it out here from the harness part from under the hood. But anyway, stay tuned. We're going to dig into the under the dash. All right, you know it's serious when the body shop's got your seat out. All right, see those wires right there? Somebody's already been in here chasing. This is your wires from the back side of the switch. So it comes out of that switch, purple wire, and goes to the neutral safety switch, and then out of that side of the neutral safety switch back to over here and just makes a loop. Well, these are the ones that's going to the neutral safety switch that's up in the harness and under the carpet and under the shifter and into the safety switch. So what we're going to do, what I done was is I put these two together, and that isolated, that took the neutral safety switch and the whole wiring harness out of the equation, and it turns over no clicking. So what we're going to do is we're going to make two new wires, run them under the carpet on this side, because I would have to take the carpet and everything up to get it out from on the passenger side, because it runs up and under the dash. We'd have to pull the dash and all out and everything to be able to get, because it goes up behind the heater box and everything. Well, those wires laying there unhooked will never harm nobody. I had rather do it the other way, but you're talking a lot of time, and time equals money, and money is tough sometimes. So we're gonna run new wires and get this baby to running. All right, so everything under the hood is done. We got a new breather coming in the morning. This one is about a 1/2 inch too tall. So new valve covers and all are on. Everything else, all the little pieces is painted. The engine and all is not, as you can see. The plug wires and all, everything's working good. It starts right up. On the inside, the see that wire laying over there in the seat? That's the right turn signal. It was, I don't know what it was hooked to. It fell out. All the signals and stuff work, but and all the lights work on the outside, but that bulb and wire fell out. I don't know what to say. The horn is not working. Got to get the horn working, and that dash cluster, the horn, the steering wheel needs to come off, drop the column, let that section there down with a speedometer and all in it, let it down and get that wire and all hooked back up. The radio don't work. I don't know if it worked before. He said that the horn did work when it was parked, so, but we're not going to mess with it today. We've done all we're going to do on it today. I pulled it out here. Like I said, it runs like a champ. Got the doors adjusted. They close good. Everything looks good, runs good, sounds good.